Alright, what is going on everyone, and welcome back to another custom model showcase. And today we'll be looking at a bunch of great westerners. And I guess let's start with Duck and Oliver. These two are probably among my favorite customs I've made to date, even though they are probably a little dated compared to how I would have done them now. But I think they still hold up to however long it's been since I originally made them. I guess we'll start with Oliver, since he was technically the first one to be made to a custom, and Oliver has been in my collection for longer than I can remember. I don't even recall where I got him. Or maybe I do. For the longest time, he was never in a great shape. I'm guessing it's because, kids don't take care of their models the best, and to be honest, I'm still amazed that he's still in my possession. There's a few older ones that I've had over the years that have seemingly disappeared, and that being said, the model itself basically required a full repaint. So I decided to go ahead and paint him in like a nice dark forest green to get him as close as I can to like the Great Western green compared to the brighter NWR green that the television series gave him. And that's another thing with, again, the models is he's really simple. Painted mostly green, used some black paint and paint pens to go around doing the cab details, the roof, windows, running board, painted the wheels black, and another thing is giving a lot of the engines buffer beams. That's definitely not the cleanest job. Yeah, the back's a little better. And I don't know why I've been doing this, but I've been giving them like rear tail lamps, so he's got one. Another thing is I use toothpicks to give him his number 1436 because we're doing things railway series here. If the livery didn't already explain it. And I used some antique gold for the safety valve, and I still don't know what this thing is, but I gave it to him using clay. Duck, similar process. I had an older duck, but he's one of those models that have been lost over time. And I'm actually kind of glad I used the latest duck model, which it's been a long time since this model was originally released, and now I feel old. So just a simple process. I went over, repainted him in the same green as Oliver, and I was really careful to not ruin the existing GWR logo, so I didn't have to repaint a new one on him like I did with Oliver. And same thing, black paint pens going around him, added a tail lamp, painted some buffer beams, used some antique gold for the safety valve, and gave him the black smoke box. And I guess the notable thing about Duck is that he has these wire handrails that go around the body. Oliver did have the same, but yeah, they broke off. I guess one of two other features you notice about the models is I do like to kind of blacken the magnets so they can kind of be disguised. I don't know, I've done it for some models, I didn't do it for others. Sometimes they mark off, so it's whatever. I don't really do it now unless the magnet is kind of fuzzy, I don't know what to call it. The other thing is the faces. Oliver's was just in a horrible condition, so yeah, I probably should have chose a lighter gray, and that's the same thing I did with Duck, so they could kind of match all the way. I just repainted his face too, even though there's nothing wrong with it. So yeah. Next up, we have the auto coaches, and yeah, these were fun to make. So, and like Bear, who I showcased in the last video, their shells were made out of tags from clothing to basically allow me to have multiple sets of coaches. And I guess to go ahead and address the obvious elephant in the room, but the understandable one, is that they are really boxy for auto coaches. But that's kind of just the limitations I had with making these square frames, and to try to fit on these old express coaches that have seen better days, and I repainted them to look somewhat fresh again. But they still function great. And as you can see, I made 2 of them, and while they're technically like they're meant to be like any of the auto coaches, I guess this one could technically be like either Isabel or Alice, and this one's either Dulcie or Maribel, but I mean, they're almost the same. The faces are pretty similar, so... Taking a look at the individual models, I used Bittersweet Chocolate for the bottom half of the coach, Natural Buff for the top half, Primary Red for the lining and buffer beams, and then Slate Gray for the roof. As well as black paint and paint pens that go around doing the windows and doors. And I think the coolest part of the models is I actually gave them little bells using clay. And the thing with using shells is I can just flip them around and use them in any direction, so it doesn't necessarily matter which way I put them or which way the engine's facing. And yeah, they can be a pain to take off. And for anyone wondering, they do navigate curves somewhat alright. As long as it's not the really short ones. And last but certainly not least, we have Toad, the Great Western Brake Van. Out of all these models, Toad has had the least work done to him. I repainted his cab roof gray, gave him some buffers on the back, redid his eyebrows, which are fading again, and I used clay to give him a buffer beam to keep it consistent on both sides, and that's mostly what all I gotta say about Toad. Surprise, surprise, we got a bonus custom, or should I say the work in progress King class. And it's been work in progress for several years now, so I have no idea when it'll eventually get completed, but I won't dive too much into the specific details of this model other than I used the 2017 Henry with an old James tender, and that's mostly what I have to say about it, I mean. And there is why it's not really been shown in a lot of videos or pictures lately. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching this custom model showcase. That's all I've got for this week, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.